For years, I believed that doing 2 sets would lead to undertraining. I thought that I would lose strength, I would lose muscle, and I would eventually shrink from the lack of volume in the gym. Like most people think, I always believed that more sets equals better results. If 3 sets was good, then 4 is even better. And I tried all kinds of popular training programs. You probably know some of them. I've tried 5 sets of 5. I've tried the German volume training, which is 10 sets of 10. And I'm not here to dismiss those programs because they may work for some people. But for me, it always led to me being burnt out. I would get joint pain and my progress would just completely stall. But despite all that, I kept holding on to the belief that more was better for a long time, until I tested the exact opposite and realized that I was wrong. In case you're new here, I'm Coach Wisdom. I've been a gym owner for over 10 years. I've been coaching for over 15 years, and helping people get fit is literally all I do. So what ultimately made me switch to the 2-set method was actually inspired by Mike Mentzer. Mike Mentzer was a former Mr. Olympia who believed in doing one hard set to failure. I tried his 1-set approach for a while and it did give me some results. But I never fully believed that 1 set is really just all you needed. So I made just one adjustment and I added a 2nd set where it's more focused on higher reps in the 15 to 20 rep range. And that one adjustment changed everything. That simple change gave me the perfect amount of intensity and volume. And it's what I call the Safe Mentzer Method. Ever since I switched to this 2-set approach, I've had better workouts, I had faster recovery, and I've had more consistent long-term progress than I ever did doing 3 or 4 sets. This is how I finally achieved a 3-plated pull-up, how I incline pressed 125-pound dumbbells for reps. And it's the same philosophy that I use on all of my clients. This is how Kevin, who actually started working out with me in his 60s, bench pressed over 300 pounds for the first time in his life. This is how Debbie, in her 60s as well, hip thrusting over 300 pounds for reps. And my wife, who's able to do weighted pull-ups, and we all use the same training philosophy. What I discovered too is that most people confuse more sets with more results. But the truth is, extra volume often becomes wasted volume. It may look super productive on paper, but in reality, it adds extra fatigue without that much more muscle building stimulus. And here's the part that nobody tells you. If you're a natural lifter, fatigue management matters more. Recovery is everything. Here's the problem that I kept running into with 3 or 4 sets. Every workout, 1 or 2 things would happen. Either I paced myself too early in the set and I only max out on the last one because I'm trying to save all my energy. Or I attacked the first set too hard and by the 3rd and the 4th set, I have nothing left. So that 3rd and the 4th set becomes junk volume. But once I cut down to 2 sets, those problems completely disappeared. And that's the biggest advantage to 2-set training. When the volume drops, intensity just naturally rises. Fewer sets force higher effort. Because you see, most people, they're not weak because they need more volume. People are usually weak because they're not training hard enough in the gym. The next time you're in your gym, look around you and you're gonna notice that most people are not performing what I call grinder sets. These are sets where the last rep slows down tremendously and you can tell they're literally on their last rep. But most people, they never get there. They stop once it starts burning and then they compensate by adding more sets. 2 sets automatically fixes that problem because now you have 2 chances and you're not gonna waste that on half-hearted work. Here's another thing that you gotta keep in mind. Your exercise selection is also gonna really matter here. You need to pick exercises that are safe to be pushed to failure. For example, when you do a hack squat, you can push that to failure and beyond much more safely than doing a barbell squat. Some lifts like deadlifts, military press, the barbell squat, they just simply carry a lot more risk when you're pushing it to failure. And in the world of fitness, for you to see gains, you have to be able to train as long as you can without getting hurt. Isolation movements, on the other hand, these you can push to failure basically every single time because they're a lot safer to do. Now, this part surprised me the most. My recovery wasn't just better with 2 sets, but my workouts actually became a lot more enjoyable. I was no longer dragging through long workouts and mentally checking out halfway through. And on top of that, my workouts also became shorter. And with shorter workouts, my performance was a lot more consistent and my fatigue management was a lot better as well. I also felt way better outside of the gym. I remember there was days where I was doing 5 sets of 5 barbell squats and it would leave me drained throughout the entire day. And last I checked, you don't work out just to look better. You work out also to feel better. So if you're constantly feeling drained after your workouts, then this 2-set method will definitely help you out there. And here's where this becomes even more powerful, especially if you've been lifting for years. Beginners, they can recover from almost anything, but as an advanced lifter, you cannot. When you're benching 225 pounds for reps, and you can do pull-ups with 45 pounds for reps, and you're squatting over 400 pounds, all of those heavy sets is exponentially creating a lot more fatigue on your body compared to when you were weaker. The stronger you get, the more recovery becomes your limiting factor. That's why when you look at the world's strongest man like After, who could deadlift over 1,000 pounds, he's not doing 1,000 pound deadlifts 2 to 3 times a week. He is strategically planning what day to deadlift over 1,000 pounds. And that's where so many experienced lifters go wrong. They're working out too much, doing too many sets, and you cannot train how you used to train when you were a beginner, where you can do 3, 4, 5 sets and it doesn't wreck your recovery. Now, what makes 2-set training difficult isn't just physical, but it's also mentally a little hard as well, because you have to start to rewire how you think. For years and years, I always believed that more sets equals more results. 3 sets felt like a normal baseline, 4 sets felt better, and whenever I did 5 sets, I felt like I was outworking every single person in the gym. But that was just habit. It wasn't logic. The moment that I switched to 2 sets, I finally learned what true effort actually feels like. Because when there's only 2 sets in front of you, you're gonna give those 2 sets everything you got. There's no pacing, no saving energy, no coasting. You either train hard or the system, it doesn't work. Which brings me to the most important part about 2-set training. You have to actually push hard. If you're leaving 4 or 5 reps in the tank, then this method will not work. Before your sets, you should feel 2 things. Number 1, you should feel uncomfortable because you're about to do something really difficult. And number 2, this is what I tell all my clients. You should expect people to feel sorry for you. Have you ever seen someone work so hard in the gym that you look at them and you're just thinking, man, they look like they're in a lot of pain. I feel really bad for that person. That's how people should feel when they see you training. They should feel sorry for you, but also at the same time, they should also feel motivated by you as well because of the fact that you're working so hard. Low volume, it only works when paired with high effort. And that's the trade-off, but it's also what makes it so effective. So your mission in the gym becomes simple now. Your goal is to beat your logbook. You're gonna do more reps, you're gonna do more weight, you're not gonna do more sets. That's it. Bring your compound lifts all the way to failure if it's safe to do so, and all your isolation work should be to failure. This approach has given me the perfect balance. It's given me maximum stimulus, it takes away the junk volume that you do in the gym, and fatigue management is already taken care of. And I know on paper, it doesn't look very cool to just do 2 sets. But the best training program is not the most impressive one. It's the one that you could recover from. It's the one that you could repeat years and years and years. And the one that you could for sure keep making progress on. So if you've been stuck doing endless sets in the gym and wondering why you have plateaued, start cutting back to 2 sets. Because you're going to discover exactly what I did. That sometimes less really is more. If you like this content where I just break it down to you simple, there's no BS, don't forget to subscribe. And lastly, I do train people in person, but I also am an online coach as well. So if you're interested in online coaching, I'll put a link in the description so you can go apply there. So until next time, guys, see ya.